that's the sound of the dog noshing herself off under the table. Hello and welcome to another episode of Lexx Education. It's the comedy science podcast where a dog absolutely does the business on herself under a table while the host of the podcast and a not host of the podcast but beloved character, husband of the podcast, sits in replacement for host of the podcast, Ron, who is still gallivanting. Hello, Tom.
Hi, thanks for having me back.
Oh, I'm sure this is exactly what you wanted to be doing with your Sunday evening.
Yeah, Father's Day today.
Yeah, and you're the father of the podcast.
And have I been upgraded to father of the husband? Not even husband of the podcast now, father of the podcast.
Well, because Dad is called Agony Dad. He's not called father of the podcast. So if you'd like to be the father of the podcast, I don't think we'll call you father of the podcast.
Because you're brother and sister, so it does have a certain implication
like
that
you're
I am
our
your
daddy.
dad. Yeah. Daddy was wrong.
We could do a play where you're our daddy.
Nope.
No? Okay. He's more a father in like Father Time, Father Christmas, Our Father who art in heaven. That kind of a father than sperm donor. How are you, Tom?
I'm all right.
I've had a long day.
Yeah.
And I've been in the sun a lot today. I feel a bit frazzled.
And this episode that we're about to listen to, is it, did you learn a lot?
Do you know, I actually have no memory of what we've done in this episode.
Brilliant.
Because it's a classic Ron special where Ron edited it, then went off gallivanting, didn't make any notes for me about what it's about, didn't name it, didn't do anything. So girlfriend of the podcast, Judith, has had to upload it and send some stuff from Brussels.
Right.
So all I have is the title Ron's picked out, which is Open Workshop on Zhjuszsjh. So
Yeah, okay.
I think, if I remember this correctly, it's one of the episodes we recorded in New Zealand,
Right.
possibly the day we were leaving. I've put in my notes that it's empirical and molecular formulae.
Right, what does that mean?
It's about doing... Well, why don't people listen to the episode and find out?
Yeah, rather than you having to remember it. Yeah, that's probably the better way to do it. Just listen, and therefore Laura doesn't have to have learned.
All right. Chemistry. Is this the one that you zhuzh?
Oh, God. You know, Laura...
This
I
is the
came
one
to-
that you're supposed to zhuzh, Ron.
Yeah, I came to today's episode, and I'm genuinely bereft as to how to zhuzh this.
Ooh.
So, I'd like to treat today's episode as kind of an open workshop on zhuzh.
Okay.
Because like and maybe we can put this out as an open call to the listeners, because I'd throw the gauntlet down. This might be unzhuzhable.
Unzhuzhable. The unzhuzhable Molly Brown. Oh, God. Is it going to be really boring?
No, it's so fun. You can't zhuzh it.
Oh, no. Because we've already done some pretty dull stuff.
This
God,
might
Ryland's going to send
be-
us a cease and desist at this rate.
Well, that was the thing, is that I sat down and I was like, shall I just shoehorn Ryland into this? But then I don't know a thing about Ryland.
You can't put Ryland where he doesn't want to be. That's the thing about Ryland. The man knows who he is and he's comfortable with himself. And if he doesn't fit in a chemistry lesson, he's not going to be there.
No. Ryland knows when to show up.
Yeah.
Laura, have you ever heard of Molly Malone?
Yes. Sweet Molly Malone. In fact, she's coming up a lot in the book that we're all supposed to be reading, but nobody is reading but me. A Tree Grows in Brooklyn.
So I knew Molly Malone from...
Did she die of tuberculosis or something?
I don't know. Turns out Molly Malone's a statue in Dublin, where I'm
Yep.
going later this week. She's got cracking tits.
Has she?
Yeah. Look at this statue.
Whoa, yeah. Lovely jobblies.
Yeah. This was like on the top 3 tourist things to go to in Dublin.
I
Just
don't
this
suppose it says tits, though, does it?
No. It doesn't have to.
Molly Malone.
But you can, like...
Also known as Cockles and Mussels, or in Dublin's Fair City. It's become Dublin's unofficial anthem.
Most of the statue is kind of a dark bronze colour. The tits have been rubbed gold.
Oh, yeah. Horrible. Like the
Yeah.
nose on Wee Scottish Bobby. What's that dog called? Greyfriars Bobby.
Greyfriars, wee Scottish Bobby. That's the Poundland version.
The song tells the fictional tale of a fishwife who plied her trade on the streets of Dublin and died young of a fever in the late 20th century. No, in the late 20th century, a legend grew up that a historical Molly lived in the 17th century. She is typically represented as a hawker by day and part-time prostitute by night. In contrast, she has also been portrayed as one of the few chaste female street hawkers of her day.
What does a part-time prostitute by night mean?
Only
Not
when there's a
every
full
day.
moon. I think it's
Or
rad.
just-
Hawking all day.
Less than other prostitutes by night. Anywho,
Yeah.
right, Laura. So the topic that we're covering today in our chemistry lesson, we're going to look at empirical and molecular formula.
Are we spelling that empirical? E-M.
Empirical, like
Mr.
Emma Watson.
Empirical. What was it? Empirical what?
Empirical and molecular formulae.
Ugh. Okay. Formulae, molecular formulae, is what you get to feed your molecules if you're not producing enough milk yourself.
Molecularly Malone?
It's nothing.
Is that nothing? Okay.
I put out a little stand-up clip the other day, Ron, of somebody that came to my show that was studying molecular medicine.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
What did you say to them?
I got mad at him because I said something like, are you looking for a specific cure or just sort of generally studying? And he was like, what do you mean? And I was like, I don't know what I mean. You have brought the world's most complicated job to the front row and I'm trying my best to ask questions. What the fuck? And then we all laughed at that.
Did you then get an answer?
Not really. He was bad. He was
was
Bulgarian.
bad.
He was Bulgarian.
Okay. Bulgarians can answer questions. I don't want that to be a stance that this podcast takes.
We more did a bit about how Bulgaria sums up almost no emotions in the British public. We have absolutely no feelings or really stereotypes about Bulgarians.
I'd say, and I loathe to bring this up, but I'd say the the thing that probably jumps to mind to British people about Bulgaria most is good at Quidditch.
Oh, see, I go straight to Uncle Bulgaria from the Wombles.
Well, that's the age gap, isn't it?
And also, I'm not a turf like you.
Yeah, but it's worth it for those little wizard boys.
Let's move on.
So, Laura, empirical and molecular formulae, they are... And be honest, like, I remember learning this, but I can't really remember what the point of any of this is.
Cool.
So I'm gonna teach you what this means, and I'm gonna teach you how to work it all out. But
We're gonna
Don't
work
ask-
it out. Do, 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 do.
that's
Sorry.
not the lyrics to that.
And then we'll work it out, isn't it?
No, that song by the Caesars. No. It's not Work It Out.
Oh.
And then we'll jerk it out.
Oh, yuck. I'm not jerking
Yeah, well,
anything out with you.
it's all about wanking. Anywho, yeah. So we'll run through this, Laura, but just refrain from asking why we're doing this
Okay.
because I can't tell you. Okay.
Okay.
So essentially, the molecular formula is kind of the one that you'll be used to, in things that we've talked about before. So, for example, ethanoic acid is a molecule. Well, let's draw out ethanoic acid.
The problem
okay?
with ethanoic acid is it really only sees the world from its own viewpoint.
Explain.
I was sort of trying to Zhjuszsjh angle from like the idea of ethnocentricity, ethnocentricity.
Sorry, what's ethnocentricity?
Ethnocentricity is when you view the world from your own ethnicity and you like fail to understand that you are just one of many ethnicities in the world.
Right.
Like egocentric, but ethnocentric.
So,
So, for example, Rylan can very rarely be accused of being particularly ethnocentric.
So,
Or my
This-
other option was ethanoic
yeah, give me the other option.
acid has a daughter called myoic acid, and then it's a sort of Ethan Hawke, ethanoic, if you can't pronounce your H's.
Okay, Ethan Hawke. Who's Maya Hawke? Is
Yeah,
that
that's
a person?
Ethan Hawke's daughter with Uma Thurman, I think.
Maya Hawke.
She was the bird that belonged to Molly Malone during the day.
Oh, she's in Stranger Things.
Yeah. Ron, you just missed my really good bit.
Sorry, say it again.
I said she's the bird that belonged to Molly Malone during the day.
Maya Hawke. No, don't get that either.
Because she was a hawker by day.
Right.
Maybe that's what
yeah.
part-time prostitute means. It means you're a hawker instead of a hooker.
Oh, she was in Asteroid City as well. She's been in some fucking films, to be fair. She was in Inside Out 2, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, Asteroid City.
That's how nepotism works, baby.
Yeah. God, she's 3 years younger than me.
I can't wait till
Maya Ray Thurman Hawke.
When Child of the Podcast is a comedian, she's going to be an absolute superstar.
Laura, I'm only here by nepotism, so we can't pull
Yeah, but
that
here
thread
is
too
nowhere
far.
on. Here is an extremely unsuccessful place to be.
Yeah, but you could have done this with,
This is
I
the
don't
world's
know,
first
Daniel
case
Simonson or
of
something.
reverse nepotism. I'm ruining your life.
Yeah, what's Ethan Hawke good for?
Absolutely nothing. Say it again.
Say it again. Yeah, I don't recognize any. Oh, Dead Poets Society he was in. I know of that. Anyway, Laura, yeah, so ethanoic acid, we'll draw it out, okay? We've got a CH3 on one side,
Right?
okay?
Yep.
We'll have a CH2. No, we'll have a C in the middle. Wait, what? No, yeah. Hang on. Yeah, hang on. Yeah. So we've got a C in, then we've got a C. That C is connected to an oxygen via a double bond.
Right.
And then there's an OH off it as well. Laura, what's the functional group on the right-hand side of ethanoic acid?
That's a dipeptide.
What's a dipeptide?
That's a amino acid.
What's an amino acid?
One of those.
Show me.
A CNO with a R-hydroxo group.
And loads of those makes a protein?
Yeah.
No.
No.
That's a carboxyl group,
It's a
isn't it?
carboxyl group.
Yeah, because we just went through that. Because it's an acid. It's ethanoic acid. So it's got a carboxyl group on the end. And then essentially just it has a hydrocarbon chain coming off of it. If it was just one carbon, that would be methanoic acid. If it were 2 carbons, it would be ethanoic acid, as it is. If it was 3 carbons, it would be propanoic acid. If it was 4 carbons, it would be butanoic acid? Butanic acid? Butanic acid, I think. If it was 5 carbons, it would be pentanic acid, and so on. Okay?
Yeah.
All the same type of molecule, just a different length of carbon chain. So the molecular formula for ethanoic acid is essentially we can just distill everything that's in it. So rather than having to say CH3COOH, you can just say C2H4O2. See, that's just that summarizes very lovely all of the bits that are in it. Yeah?
Yeah.
What's the molecular formula, Laura, for propanoic acid? 1 more carbon in the chain.
C3H4O2.
Draw it out.
No.
Do it. Do it now.
I don't know how to.
You know how carbons work, you know how hydrogens work, you know how oxygens work. I've told you they'll all have a carboxyl
shouting at
group.
me. It shuts
They'll-
me down.
Okay, calm. They'll all have a carboxyl group on one end,
Okay, I can draw
and then
that.
just add in another carbon.
Well, the thing is, though, I think I didn't do it right on the first one.
Okay, show me the first one. No, that's absolutely correct. Why? Yeah, that's great. Now I want you to draw that, but add in another carbon to the carbons coming off the carboxyl group. So the carboxyl group will be the same, and then I want another.
So is it
carbon
2CH3?
Draw it out.
But I don't know how to draw it out.
How do carbons work? How many
See,
bonds do carbons make?
4.
Okay.
So do they lose
Do
a
the-
hydroxyl?
Do the
Hydrogen?
carbons?
Do they lose a hydrogen?
Why would they lose a hydrogen?
To connect to another hydrogen.
Do
No.
it this way. Laura, listen.
Yes.
Draw the carboxyl group.
Yeah, done that.
Okay. Now draw the carbon chain in.
2 carbons coming off the original carbon.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then here's the trick with this. Just fill in all of the gaps with hydrogens.
So, okay.
Okay. Now give me the molecular formula of propanoic acid.
C3H6O2.
Great. Yeah. That's it. It's just a way of summarizing all of the elements in a molecule.
But we've always
Okay.
done this.
No, sometimes we'll give sort of a more structural description of things. So what you could give the structure of propanoic acid is like CH3, CH2, COOH. Something like that. You could say that. And that's a bit more informative about the structure of that element. You see? But the molecular formula, as you say, would be C3H6O2.
Okie doke.
So we're going to go back to ethanoic acid now.
Right.
The molecular formula of ethanoic acid, C2H4O2.
Yep.
The empirical formula of a compound is the simplest whole number ratio of the elements present.
Right.
Before I lead you on the path with that, could you hazard a guess as what that would be for ethanoic acid? The simplest whole number ratio.
2CH2O.
2CH2O. Yeah, I think you've got it. You just don't have to put the 2 at the beginning.
Well, then how do you know there's 2 carbons?
You don't.
That seems fucking unhelpful.
The
So
empirical
it's an
formula,
ingredients list with no measurements.
sort of. It's kind of like a ratio. You know how like sometimes you'll just learn the recipe to a cake, and then other times you'll just be like, well, it's 1 egg to every 100 grams of flour to every 100 grams of sugar, and then you can just scale that up and down.
Right, okay.
It's kind of like that. And again, Laura, and thank you for not doing this already. I'm not saying you have, but don't ask me why. But that's what the empirical formula is. It'd be so CH2O is the empirical formula for ethanoic acid.
Yeah. So how would you do this on propanoic where it doesn't add that easily?
Well, for propanoic acid, actually the molecular formula and the empirical formula are the same.
Because you can't reduce it down any
There's
further.
there's no reduction there.
Okay. Can't reduce it, so empirical is the same. That's
There
the
are
thing
a
about empires. They always want to reduce the place they've colonized.
Colonized, exactly. Organic molecules, like the ones that we've just looked at, they will often have different empirical and molecular formulae. I.e., there are often different sort of repeating structures and stuff. Simple inorganic molecules will often have similar empirical and molecular formulae. And then the steadfast rule to remember, and maybe you could hazard a guess as to why this is, but ionic compounds always have similar empirical and molecular formulae.
Always have similar empirical and
Okay.
molecular formula.
Knowing what you know about ionic compounds, can you hazard a guess as to why?
Because it's a really good wind turbine I can see from my.
Oh yeah? Like a
Yeah.
classic?
Yeah. Just one single one up on the top of the hill.
Oh, big yawn. Big stretch.
Oh, I'm going to see Mackie next week.
Yeah, I'm tired, man.
Yeah. The next episode, I'm going to be tired because we're doing it in about 12 hours. 14 hours.
Yeah, it's going to be even later for you than it is for me now.
Yeah. Here's the thing about ions, Ron. An ion is an atom that has a charge. So they would always be similar because they are sharing electrons. So
No, covalent bonds share electrons. I'm going to cut you off there. The reason why they're always going to be similar is because in an ionic compound, you have negatively charged ions and positively charged ions. And the ratio between those is going to be pretty constant because of the negative charge has to match the
positivity.
positive charge. So, for example, you might have sodium chloride, aka table salt, and all of the sodium ions are going to have a positive charge of +1, and all of the chloride ions are going to have a negative charge of -1. So it does not matter whether you've got 1,000 sodium ions, or 1 sodium ion. The empirical formula is going to be the same, because if you have 1,000 sodium ions, you can have 1,000 chloride ions, and if you have 100 sodium ions, you're going to have 100 chloride ions. The empirical ratio is always NaCl.
Yeah.
You see?
Yeah.
And that's why those things are always the same. How long have we been recording?
We've got enough if we're done.
We're going to do one worked example that gives a little bit of sort of illumination.
Illumination!
Why this can be useful. Okay?
Okay.
So, we have a compound, right? And we want to work out the empirical...
Drink a drink,
The lily, the pink, the pink, the pink, the saviour of the human race.
For she
invented
empirical compounds, most efficacious in many cases.
So we have a compound. Sorry. And that compound contains 2.72 grams of carbon.
2.72 G's of C.
And 7.28 grams of oxygen.
Right. A mole.
Laura, what is the atomic mass of carbon?
Hang on. It is 12.
Cool. So how many moles of carbon do we have?
Fuck. How do you do this again, Ron?
Divide the mass by the atomic mass.
0.23.
Give it to me in 3 decimal places.
0.227.
Beautiful. Write that down. Laura, how many moles of oxygen do we have?
I'll tell you. 4.83. Yeah?
What sum did you do?
7.28 divided by 16.
0.83.
Wait, hang on. 7.28 divided by 16. 0.455.
There we go.
My calculator really screwed up there.
Okay. Now, the next thing that we need to
What
do,
are you
Laura,
playing with?
a lanyard.
Ugh. You're such a fiddle faddle.
Because I'm tired and I'm really struggling, but I want to just finish this thing. Laura, the next thing we need to do is we need to find the ratio. The way that we do that is we divide...
Very happily, Ron. It's 1-2.
You've worked it out, have you?
Yeah, they just look about half of each other, don't they?
They are, yeah. So basically you just divide all of them by the smallest value. So 0.227 divided by 0.227 equals...
1.
1. And then, as you have correctly surmised, 0.455 divided by 0.227 equals 2. So what is the empirical formula for this compound that we've got?
1-2.
Give it to me in the elements, Laura.
CO2. It was
Yes.
carbon dioxide the whole
It's
time.
good. It was carbon dioxide the whole time. So I guess that's a way that the empirical formula is of use. because carbon dioxide that time.
Correct.
All right, see you for quiz.
Thanks, sweet Molly Rylan.
Hey.
Tied it all up at the end.
No zhjuszsjh.
How was your day with mother and father?
It was all right, yeah.
Nice. While you were doing that, I had a terrible night's sleep.
How come?
The bed in the apartment in Auckland is not good. It's a real back ruiner. And even after just 1 month here, my back is very sad, to the point where Tom actually slept on an airbed while he was here, rather than this mattress.
I can't imagine a bed being that bad.
Yeah, it's really horrible. You wake up in the night and you feel like you're like bowed in half. And I've just had 5 nights away from it in a lovely bed in Wellington. So coming back to this bed that is horrible and has a 3-year-old in it is just hard to sleep after 5 beautiful uninterrupted nights, you know? Wah, wah.
Wah, wah.
You know, that classic sound effect that we always do. Wah, wah.
Wah, wah.
Oh, I'm a whingy cowbag, but the festival's done now, and I've got that, like, all my adrenaline has run out. Everything I needed. I've returned from Wellington to Auckland. We leave tomorrow for the 27-hour trip home, but weirdly, like, it's because of the time difference. We like leave tomorrow night and then just arrive at lunchtime the next day, so it's a bit odd feeling. And then we will be home, and I will be balls deep in Mackie Dog.
What are you going to watch on this plane? Like, just something just overly complex?
Here's my hope with this journey. She'll be so tired, and she's so excited about going home. Maybe she'll just have learned how to watch 13 films in a row.
Maybe.
That would be
That'd
so
be nice.
good, wouldn't it?
Can you not just, like, get her on the reels or something? Just Instagram reels.
Yeah, well, there's no internet. Maybe I could pay for internet.
Bluey?
I did try and get her to watch kids stuff. She's just at that age. I specifically bought her little headphones that like go on like a band, you know, so they don't fall off. But then the screens in the back of the seats only work with the headphones provided by the airplane, and those
That's
ones just
fucking
kept
stupid.
falling off all the time. And then obviously everything that is on her tablet to watch, she's like, no, I've seen that, I want to watch this new stuff. But then the headphones keep falling off and you're just like,
Yeah. What have I done since we last spoke? I went to Dublin.
oh yeah, how was Dublin? I love that we just do
Well-
these like catch-ups mid-episode.
Oh yeah, we're about to record a
Yeah.
quiz.
Yeah.
Dublin was nice. I didn't make the most of it at all because I was A, there on my own, and B, because I flew there in the morning, got up at like 6 to go. When I have to get up early, my brain doesn't let me sleep, and I wake up every like 45 minutes going, you're late for your flight, you're late for your flight. So I was knackered, but I walked around a lot of it, didn't do lots, but I saw a good amount of it, and I thought it was a beautiful city. Very clean, very beautiful buildings.
Yeah, it's gorgeous. Did you see all the padlocks on the bridge?
No,
Oh. Did you see the...
I walked up and down the river a bit. I saw
Liffey.
Trinity College. And then just kind of walked to my hotel and watched The Green Planet in bed.
You and I are very similar people. I was in Wellington on Saturday night, and I was quite sociable this week, and I did pretty well at hanging out without the family. And then Saturday night, I hosted the like final show of the festival, and then there was a big end of festival party, and I was like, "Goodbye, everybody. Have a lovely party." And then I got a text message from Tom Horton saying I'd been nominated for an award while I was sat in bed doing a crossword. And I was like, "Yep."
Tom Horton's there.
Yeah, he's been around all
Oh,
month.
that's
So
fun.
that's been lovely. But yes, that was. I was like, that's classic me.
You got nominated for an award, though. Did you win?
No, I did not. At least I assume I didn't, or someone would have told me.
Nice to be nommed, though.
Yeah, sure. I think they were just like kind, nice end of festival awards, like small awards, not big. Because it's funny in Auckland or in New Zealand, sorry, it's quite nice in a way. The like proper festival awards, like, you know, like the Edinburgh Award things, that you're only eligible if you're from New Zealand, which I think is quite a nice way of making sure that international acts with a much bigger circuit don't just win it every year, you know, and that you actually are raising up homegrown talent and sort of giving the comedy scene here a chance to grow, because the acts here are fantastic, but there is much less comedy infrastructure. So I think it's sort of a really interesting way of doing it.
Well, yeah, because you got... Who have you got? You got the Flight the Conchords lads.
Yeah,
you got
Rhys Darby, Rose Matafeo. There's a girl here, woman here, Abby Howells, who is going to Edinburgh this year, and I think she's going to do very well at Edinburgh. I would imagine she could be a big name on the British circuit soon.
Abby Howells. I don't recognise her, but...
No, I'd never met her before, but then I shared a dressing room with her when I did the gala, and her set was just really quirky.
Google's changed.
Oh.
AI mode.
Oh,
They need to come up with a name for that.
It's bad.
You can't just call it AI mode. Well.
Should we do a quiz?
Yeah, okay. Do you remember what we were doing in the bulk of the app?
Carboxyl groups.
There was one more thing I wanted to say to you, Laura. A month in New Zealand, that fringe has finally fucking grown out. Look at you.
Yeah. I got a proper fringe again.
Yeah.
And it got rescued a bit before I left, so...
Yeah, but that didn't work.
Shape. It was a better shape. It was still short, but it was a better shape.
It wasn't. It's grown out now.
Ron.
We've had this chat. You told me when it was done. I didn't think it was good then. Okay, Laura.
Thanks for starting the quiz off on such a miserable note, by the way. You're so rude.
I was telling you that your fringe has grown out. It's good now.
So hot, Ron. I don't feel well.
You're going to be a fucking chore on this flight.
It'll be Child of the Podcast. Child of the Podcast will get back and be like, it took me 10 hours to watch a single episode of Bluey because my mother needed so much attention.
The headphones kept falling out of her ears. No, Laura, we weren't doing carboxyl groups. We were doing empirical and molecular formulae.
Oh, yeah. One of the more pointless things we've talked about.
Yeah. So, Laura, I want you to work out the empirical formula for something that is 15.8% carbon and 84.2% sulfur.
What are you talking about? What? What? Shit, I'm so hot, Ron. What's the question?
15.8% carbon.
Yeah?
84.2% sulfur. I want you to work out the empirical formulae.
Sulfur's Na, isn't it?
Nope.
What's sulfur?
S.
Just S. Oh, fuck, I'm so hot. Well, now, how the bloody hell are you supposed to do this? We didn't do it like this in the lesson.
We did. It was just we did it in grams instead of percent.
Yeah.
Okay, 15.8 grams of carbon and 84.2 grams of sulfur. Does that help?
No. Those don't fit together as nicely as those other numbers you gave me.
Look at this, Laura. You seen this before?
Overheard. Oat milk.
It's oat milk, but as a powder.
Why? Isn't that just oats? If you bought porridge?
No.
I think you've got Ready Breck in that bag.
No, there's other stuff in it, but it basically means, because like all oat milk is like oat powder dissolved in water, and then if you buy it like this, they just don't have to ship just loads of water around. You can just mix it with your own water and make oat milk.
That's really great. Stop breathing so creepily. Get your nose away. You should be able to flip your nose the other way when you're podcasting. Ron! Do you want me to be able to do this or not? I won't try if you carry on.
Right, carry on.
I don't know. CS4.
Talk me through your work.
Oh, no, wait. C4S. I don't know. I'm too sick. I'm so sweaty. I hate this. You can't just quiz in a different way to what I haven't learned.
We did it in the same way. We made it grams. It didn't help.
But they don't fit together like the other ones did.
The other ones didn't really fit together.
So...
What were the steps on the other one? Maybe you
know,
could follow
I
like
don't
at
know,
least
I don't know,
one
I
of
don't
the steps
know.
that we did.
I can't remember. Oh. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know.
Do you want to stop?
I
Should we
don't
give
have
up?
a calculator. I can't do it. Ron. Ron.
Should we stop?
No, because then I don't get any points.
You're not getting any points for this.
Okay, Ron. Divide 84.2 by 15.8 for me.
Why don't you have your phone?
Because I don't know where it is. And there's
80
panic
what am I-
everywhere in the room.
What am I doing?
I don't know! You're the one that told me to do this!
84.2. I'm dividing it by what?
15.8?
I'm just dividing those two numbers together. Okay.
Yeah, I've definitely got
That's
a note
5.
here that says divide each one by the smallest. I don't know what that means.
You fucking idiot. That equals 5.33.
Is that anything? Right, so I've
No.
got 5.33 moles of sulfur.
That's nothing.
Why does it say divide each by the smallest then?
Okay, I'll talk you through it, and then you'll do it for another one. Okay?
Okay.
So
I'm so hot, Ron. I
you're
might have to do a
not.
topless episode. I'm so hot.
Do not do that, Laura. Firstly, we need to
gonna die.
divide both of them by their atomic mass.
That is not what I have written down.
No. So do that.
I don't have their atomic mass.
All right.
This
Quiz over.
Ron. Oh, I did a puzzle of the periodic table. Ow! With youngest sister of the podcast last night. Shout out to Lindsay again.
Rock and roll.
Right, 32. So, Ron, 84.2 divided by 32.0.
You're simply going to have to use your own calculator.
I don't know where my phone
Google calculator.
is. No, because Google uses AI now.
So?
Oh, Ron, just
Everything
be there
uses
for me
AI.
as a brother.
No, you need some tough love.
I don't. I've got to stop
No,
drinking this
actually-
tea. It's making me so hot.
Someone's closing the blinds behind you. Is that younger sister of the podcast?
Yeah, she wants nothing more to do with me.
No. Look, Laura, I'm giving you tough love at the moment, and if you don't
I hate
fucking
tough
knuckle
love.
down,
Tough love has
I'm gonna
never, ever worked on me, Ron.
if you don't knuckle down, I'm gonna start giving you some tough hate, and that's not gonna help.
Tough love is so stupid as a concept.
No, it's not.
Yeah, it is.
No, because I think if you get mollycoddled too much, you end up with soft little pill bugs like you. That's
excuse
not
me?
what the world needs.
What? Well, it's not like we ever had soft love, and I'm still a little pill bug. So, Oh, now I'm burping. Oh, God. 2.63 moles of carbon.
How did you work that out?
Oh, my God! Because I divided it of
By?
sulfur. Sorry, that's of sulfur, not carbon.
Okay.
I don't feel well. Oh, God. 15. Just stay there. Stay there. Ron, remember 12.011, okay?
Write it down.
No! Just do your job. What was it, 12? Fucking hate you.
You're a senile old fuck.
1.32. Oh, do you know what we're going to call this, Ron? We're going to call this CS2. That's what we're going to say. CS2. No, C2S. C2S. C2S is the game.
Once again, snatching defeat from the jaws of victory.
What?
It was CS2 is the answer.
Yeah, CS2 is right, Ron.
0 marks.
No, come on.
Well, because you just didn't do the last step, which is where you divide them both by the smallest number.
Yeah, that's why I've written that down then. Why have I
Yeah.
only written down the last instruction?
Because you're a senile old fuck.
Is that the end of the quiz?
No, there's 2 more questions, but I just don't think it's worth, I don't think it's worth my time or the listeners. I think it's worth your time.
Are they working out questions?
Well, we can skip that one. The second one was going to be, what's the empirical formula for glycine?
No. End of quiz. So there we go. I've learned now, haven't I? You all heard me learn there. What it is, Tom, I actually kind of do remember this. I can't remember the details, obviously, but I'll give you the gist. It's like, say you've got carbon dioxide.
Yeah,
You can write that as CO2.
I'm aware.
Yeah. But then with more complicated stuff and things, there's other ways you can write them. So it's about coming up with formulas and useful ways of showing more detail in what's going on in the molecule. Or say you've got something big, like you could have a version of CO2 where there's 15 carbons and 30 oxygens. So there's lots of different ways to write it, but basically you're simplifying it all down to CO2.
Yeah, okay.
It's maths and neat ways of writing things down. That's what it's about.
Abbreviation.
Yeah.
Scientific chemical abbreviation.
Yeah, in a mathsy way. Yeah.
Like, why say oxygen when you can just say O,
Yeah.
but longer?
Yeah. But you have CO2 because there's 2 of them.
Yeah.
Oxygens are never alone.
So,
Oh my God, Tom.
yeah.
In one of the... Did you hear that burp that came out?
No, I
as well?
heard.
Yeah.
I thought you might try and smooth over it, but you just announced.
Have you... Well, I was going to say then, have you ever listened to this podcast? You haven't.
No, I've listened to bits of it.
In fact, I said to you, why don't you listen to this episode and then we could discuss it together at the end of it, and you said you'd rather die.
I didn't say I'd rather die. I said I'd rather not.
Yeah, and you didn't. I've forgotten what I was going to say now. The burp took me by surprise. Oh, that was it. One of our really early episodes, like maybe episode 3 or something. It's called Atoms Are Always Never Alone, which was my reminder for atoms don't
Atoms are always never alone.
Triple A and A. That's how you remember that atoms are never singular.
Triple A and A.
Yeah, atoms are always never alone. But recently, science has managed to isolate a single atom.
So now
Atoms
Triple
are
A and A.
sometimes always alone.
Right, it's almost worth not having the saying anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tom, because I knew you didn't want to listen to the episode,
Yeah.
I reached out to all of the lab rats in the Discord
Right.
and said to them, has anybody got any questions for husband of the podcast?
Oh, right, yeah.
So now we're just going to read you those questions and you can answer them in as much depth as you like.
I didn't know this was going to happen.
No,
Okay.
I thought it's surprising.
Yeah, I am surprised.
How was the omelette, says Mike.
The omelette, I don't know if everyone knows what's being referred to here. The omelette's a really strong word for it. It was egg that was cooked in a pan, but it became sort of more like a savoury meringue that was sort of whisked.
Or a fried mousse.
Yes, a fried mousse. It was sort of whisked for about, 8 minutes while Laura got distracted by about 9 other half jobs that she half did. And then she got back to the whisked egg. And do you know what? I was sceptical, but it was okay to eat. It was a little dry.
I think if the cheese on the bottom had been less burnt.
Yeah, why did you put the cheese on the bottom of an
Because that's
omelette?
what I did for that omelette I had the other day. You know when I made myself an omelette and not you? I did it and it was delicious.
Did you whisk that one for 8 minutes?
No, less.
No, right, less.
Yeah. Also, 7 eggs didn't fit in that pan. With that much air.
Yeah, it was the air that was... 7 eggs would fit in the pan, no problem.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Next question. I don't know if you're going to sense a pattern here. Carol asks, what was wrong with Laura's omelette?
Right, are they all omelette questions? What was wrong with the omelette? For eating, nothing. Practically, it made a mess of the hob.
I did clean that up, though.
Yeah, about 12 hours later.
I had loads of other stuff to do.
Yeah, okay. That was one of the things that was wrong
Why
with
is
the
our
omelette.
dog so scuttly all of a sudden?
Because we're having a conversation and she doesn't know why she's not involved. So it was quite messy. It was a little dry, but it tasted just fine once I covered it in the sauce I like.
That's interesting because Carol's second sentence there is nothing a bit of mayo can't sort out, but you actually went for a chili oil.
I actually went for kimchi ketchup.
Oh.
It's a very
Kimchi
fancy...
ketchup sounds like a cool pop star.
Yeah. I was going to do an impression of kimchi ketchup then, but it was going to come out real racist, so I decided not to.
Mike again here, him and Carol really got in quick on these questions. There are other people coming up later. Will you take part in the next Eggathon the Megathon?
What's the Megathon in addition to the
Meg being involved in the Eggathon.
Oh, right. Look, if I've got an invite to the Eggathon, I'd happily be involved.
Yeah?
Yeah, is any science done during the Eggathon, or is it just the two of you eating eggs like idiots?
It's usually just us eating eggs. We usually quiz each other or something.
Right,
the eggs are a punishment for not getting something
Oh, I
right.
see. I like a quiz.
Yeah, all right.
I love a quiz.
Maybe it's going to be a team Eggathon. Carol's also asked, will you do the Eggathon next time?
Sure.
Will Tom make the eggs or leave them to Laura? Does I have a bit of a history of making bad eggs?
Yeah. So you do cook the eggs?
Well, the thing is, the first Eggathon we ever did, I cooked my eggs, I boiled them for 16 minutes. That was too long.
What the fuck is wrong with you?
I was doing a lot of other things and I was like...
Yeah, here's the thing. When you're cooking eggs, just do that one thing. They don't take long to cook.
Well, then take some stuff off my plate. It's all very well saying that, but I host a podcast with a man who's just gone for 3 weeks.
Yeah.
Didn't queue up any episodes to go out while he was away. And then I've started a new project and then I have to gig all the time and I haven't finished the first tour yet and we're writing the second tour and doing that. And then we had a child.
Yeah, that was...
And we've got this scuttle pig that's now lying as near to us as she can while her bum's on the carpet. And I'm supposed to take you out for Father's Day and I've got to look after that cat round the corner.
That was stupid. Look, a lot of these are self-inflicted, but my real point is, when cooking eggs, just do the eggs.
But what do you do to keep your brain focused?
Just focus on the eggs.
But I won't, because there's nothing to do while the eggs are cooking.
Sing a little egg song.
But then I'll get really into the egg song. I'll write a really good song. I'll go and
don't
find
write the
you
song,
to
don't
perform it to you. And then by the time you're done applauding and crying about how good the song was, when I get back, the eggs are broken.
Right. Just maybe don't cook eggs.
Yeah, okay. Jasper says, would you rather be shut in a room listening to Lexx Education for 12 hours straight or forced to eat nothing but souffle omelette for 2 days?
I'll take the souffle omelette for 2 days.
Would you really?
I just, listening to you and Ron recording, because I've heard you recording a lot, it's just like listening to the worst part of our marriage, non-stop. So if we have a conversation like that, that's like a really bad part of my day. I just like to be a bit happier than the two of you seem to ever be.
We enjoy it.
No, you do, but you enjoy the fight. I don't want to fight.
Okay, so you take eggs. You'd
Yeah,
be very bound up if you ate nothing but mooselet.
Yeah. Am I allowed my sauce or is it dry?
I think you're allowed your sauce.
Then I'll take the eggs.
Yeah. Okay, lovely Stephen.
I can't believe that so far it's just been non-stop egg questions. We've had.
Eggs is a big deal in Lexx education.
Will you be in the eggathon? What happened with the eggs? Is there any non-egg questions?
Yeah, this one coming up now. This is from Stephen.
Hi, Stephen.
Laura's imaginary husband is Jurgen Klopp. Who would Tom's literary imaginary wife be? So I'm guessing this is if you were writing your version of Klopp, actually.
Yeah.
What famous comedian would you marry?
Why would I marry a famous comedian? If you think the answer is you, you're delusional.
Why wouldn't you marry me?
Well, because the reason you selected Jurgen Klopp,
Is he so much like you?
No, it's because he's sensible and you found that appealing at the time of COVID.
Have you met you?
Yeah.
You are sensible.
Yeah.
You read the instructions on how to take a fucking thing out of a box earlier.
Did the box come off completely perfectly first time?
Yeah,
No questions?
It was amazing.
And then imagine you doing it. What would have
I'd
happened?
have put a Stanley knife through the new TV.
Yeah, exactly. So all in all, my system works.
Yeah, and that's why I love you.
I know,
And I
but-
just can't fathom the depths of your brain.
Yeah. But you're looking for an admirable quality. That's a celebrity that you find an admirable quality in. Also, are you a celebrity?
Fuck off! No, I'm not. But on this podcast, I am.
You're the most famous person in this podcast, easily.
Yeah. So who would you write about?
Oh, Laura Lexx, this amazing comedian.
No, don't sarcasm me. What's it called? Patronise.
Don't sarcasm me. What did you say earlier? Earlier, Laura said this sentence. Oh, that's him, the whistly one from People in Space. And I had to translate that into what she was talking about. Points at home if you can tell what Laura was referring to. Oh, it's the whistly one from People in Space. Answers on a postcard.
And here's the thing, Tom. I knew that wasn't the most specific description I could give. It was just where I got to in that sentence. And had you not laughed for that long and then text all your friends about it...
One friend.
All of your friends. It was Matt from the Noise Next Door, by the way. Mackie, leave your bits alone for just a few seconds, please, while I do my career.
May Martin.
We do love them.
Yeah.
Tom and I are currently watching Taskmaster and just...
The season with May Martin in it.
Or we just love them too much to really focus on anything else.
We don't care what anyone else is talking.
They're perfect. Yeah, okay. Can I be in that book too? Just one chapter where I'm in it too?
No, I think you've died in that book.
Okay.
That's how it begins. Sadly, Laura died from eggs.
Jenny would like to know, what's your science knowledge like?
Bad, I'd say. My knowledge retention broadly is good. I tend to remember little facts, but I haven't done science since GCSE.
That was Jenny O. Jenny C says, do you think biology is the best science or are you wrong?
I'm wrong. So I did 3 sciences at GCSE because a lot of people did double science, but I did 3.
I did triple science.
Yeah, so I did the 3. I got an
But it's
A
like
in
combined,
physics.
isn't it?
No, I did 3. I did separate ones, I think. Because I know I got an A in physics and B in the other 2. And which is weird because I'm not good at maths, but physics always makes sense to me because it's like, yeah, well, of course.
Ugh. Mike would like to know, what's it like living with such a great inventor?
Mackie's only invented how to use her cone to dig.
She did do that, didn't she?
Yeah, when she had a cone on, she realised that she could use it to dig the earth out in the garden. And so, in that way, I guess living with a great inventor is a lot like living with a fishy squirrel.
She does smell like
She
fish.
smells like... She doesn't eat fish, but she smells of it.
We think she's scared of the sea because it smells like a really big version of her mouth.
So she thinks that the sea is just a dog yawning massively.
Yeah. Stephen says, if Tom was a special guest for Lexx Education, what science topic would you teach?
What science topic?
Like if you had to pick a thing to do a guest subject on.
Could I teach the science of the Marvel universe?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, I could do that. That's probably the only thing I've got any level of expertise on.
Okay. Andy says, I think the souffle omelette looked amazing. I'd have eaten it. Why didn't you, Tom? Don't you love Laura? Oh, I like that Andy's assumed you didn't eat it.
I did eat it, and
did.
I do love her. Next question, please.
Okay. Haley says, what's an R group?
What's an R group?
Yeah.
R spelt just the letter R.
Yeah, capital R.
An R group is this is a science question, or is it just the question?
It's a science question.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I don't know.
It's a thing wearing a hat.
It's a thing wearing a hat.
Or maybe it's the hat.
You think it's...
I think it might be a hat.
Yeah, see, here you go. My science knowledge is not good enough to know what an R group is. For me, an R group is some people watching fireworks.
Oh, I love it. Like it. Okay. If it wasn't to be science that you were teaching, what subject do you think you could teach? Comedy, obviously.
Well...
Because you've learned it living with a wife for so long that does comedy.
I mean, improv, I could teach improvisation to the both of you. You could do with some tips. Other things that I know, I don't know. I'm not a teacher. I'm not a good teacher. You're a bad teacher too, aren't you? What have you taught about? You teach more about comedy sometimes.
I teach comedy. I do teach like less experienced comedians comedy.
Yeah. See, that the thing that I'm, the only thing I can really do is improvising. I could teach you about the science of the I could teach you the rules of Dungeons and Dragons 5th edition. I don't know. That's all I care about.
D&D, you could teach D&D, I think.
Yeah, I could probably.
Yeah.
I'm an okay teacher, but I need to, as in I can speak to people and have them learn stuff, but I need to really know the subjects, and I don't know enough subjects.
Which lab rat is the scariest?
Which lab rat is the out of the gang that I know?
Yeah.
Oh, blimey. Pass.
How many lab rats is too many lab rats?
One.
Which,
I think if there's more than one person that thinks that this is good, no, this is all horrible. cut all of this. But the problem is, I know you won't cut it. You'll just put it all in and go, well.
Yeah, probably. It's late. This episode's going out in 4 hours, and I'm tired.
Michael. Is that scariest? How many's too many? One. If it's Michael, one.
Okay.
I've just picked.
Is that Mike, and you've changed his name to Michael?
I call him Michael.
Oh, okay. You're very formal with him. Okay. And finally, from your nemesis, Michael, do you enjoy the title of Husband of the Podcast?
Yes, although I did like it earlier when you said Our Father who art in heaven. So from now on, God of the podcast will be preferred.
Do you want me to say it? Do you want to talk to you now? Like a little sexy religious thing we could do together.
Yeah.
Okay. Does he think Laura regrets us asking for question ideas?
No. No, I think it's nice. I wish there'd been more questions that weren't about eggs.
Yeah, well,
The people, they love the eggs.
that's the theme of the podcast, isn't it?
All year's
it's
Easter.
An egg-based podcast masquerading as a science podcast.
Yeah.
It's always Easter at Lexx.
Legs education? Eggs education?
We've done all
Lexx
of them.
education surely is better.
Lexx education.
No, that's too much. Lexx education.
Well, thank you, Tom.
No, thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, eggs.
Thanks, chickens, for laying them.
Oh, and ducks.
And dinosaurs for becoming chickens.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Thanks, me.
Thanks,
Our
you.
Father in heaven who gave you dinosaurs.
Okay, now you have to say
eggs.
Class dismissed.
Yes, okay. Class dismissed.
Oh, he's so authoritative. Not like that stupid Ron.
Yeah.